The wind did blow from the west that eve, carrying dust across the endless plains. The sun hung low, like a weary golden coin half spent upon the horizon. The great ranch lay silent, save the creak of the barn door and the moaning of old boards that had weathered 1,000 storms. Upon that land stood one they called Elias Boone, a man of vast stature and solemn heart, the giant rancher of Hollow Creek. His shadow stretched long as a wagon train, and folk spoke that when he strode through town, horses quieted and men gave way. Yet, for all his might, his spirit was gentle, and his soul was haunted by memories of loss. That eve he stood by the corral, gazing upon his cattle that grazed in the dimming light. His hands, great as spades, rested upon the fence rail. He had known much hardship, drought, rustlers, and death's cruel hand, yet nothing that night would strike him more deeply than the words of a small and trembling voice. From the edge of the lane came a cry, soft as wind through grass but filled with dread. He turned, and there before him stood a girl, no more than 12 winters old, her dress torn, her face pale with dust and fear. Her hair, the color of corn husk, clung to her brow, and her eyes were wild with grief. She looked upon him as though he were both judge and savior. "Sir," she said, gasping between sobs, "they want to hurt my mom, she is sick." The words fell upon his heart like stones in a still pond. He bent low, his shadow covering her as a mountain might cover a valley. "Who be they, child?" said he, his voice deep as thunder but gentle in tone. "Speak plain, for I would not have harm come to any mother." The girl clutched the hem of her dress, trembling. "Men from the town," she whispered. "3 of them, the ones that take the land of others. They said our debt be due, and if we cannot pay, they'll come at night and drive us off. My mother lies in bed, too weak to rise. I ran all the way here, for folks say you are a good man, and strong." Elias's brow furrowed like plowed earth. "Aye," he muttered, "there be wicked men aplenty who prey upon the weak." He rose to his full height, towering like an oak. "Fear not, little one. None shall harm thy mother whilst I draw breath." The girl's eyes glistened with tears. "They said they come this night," she whispered. "Please, sir, come quick." Without another word, Elias turned toward his stable. He saddled Brimstone, his black stallion, whose eyes burned like coals in the dusk. As he mounted, the sky grew heavy with cloud. The girl climbed behind him, clutching his coat as the horse thundered into the dark. Through fields and fences they rode, the prairie wind howling like the cry of lost souls. The moon broke through but once, silvering the trail before them. At length they came upon a small, crooked cabin by the stream, its chimney cold, its porch sagging beneath the eaves. Within glimmered a faint light. "Stay here," said Elias, dismounting. "No harm shall come whilst I stand." He strode to the door, his boots thudding upon the planks. Inside, he found a woman lying upon a cot, pale as parchment, her breath shallow. Her eyes opened weakly when she heard his step. Who are ye?" she whispered. "A friend," said he. "Your daughter came to me in fear. She spake of men who seek to harm thee." The woman nodded, tears tracing her hollow cheeks. "They come oft," she said faintly. "Say the land be theirs now, that my husband's debt died not with him. But I cannot rise. I cannot fight them." "Rest easy," said Elias. "I shall see this wrong set right." No sooner had he spoken than there came from the road the sound of wheels and laughter, harsh, cruel laughter that chilled the very air. A wagon drew near, and upon it sat 3 men, rough of face and mean of spirit. One bore a rifle, another a chain, and the third a torch already burning. Elias stepped out into the yard, his shoulders broad beneath the starlight. "That's far enough," he called. The men halted, staring at him with scorn. The leader, a lean man with a scar upon his cheek, spat into the dirt. "And who might ye be, stranger?" "Name's Elias Boone," he said, voice like rolling thunder. "This land and these folk be under my protection this night." The men laughed. "Protection," said the scarred one. "You think to stand 'gainst us, old ox. This widow owes the bank, and the bank owes us. We come to claim what's due." Elias stepped forward. "No debt be worth the price of cruelty," he said. "Take thy leave now, lest I make thee regret thy coming." The torch-bearer sneered. "Big talk, rancher. Best ye step aside. We've burned finer houses than this." Elias said not more. He walked toward them, slow and certain. The men shifted uneasily, for there was something in his eyes that spoke of storms long endured. The scarred man raised his rifle. One more step, and all. The word never finished. In the blink of an eye, Elias struck the rifle aside and seized the man by the collar, lifting him clean off the ground. "You'd raise fire, 'gainst the sick and poor," he roared. "Then by heaven's wrath, taste thine own fear." He cast the man into the dust, where he lay gasping. The others turned to flee, but Brimstone neighed fierce and blocked the path, rearing high. The torch fell and sputtered in the mud. The night grew still again, save the panting of men who had known defeat. Elias knelt beside the leader. "Hear me," he said lowly. "Ride to town and tell thy master this, if he sends thee here again, he shall answer to me and to God alike. Now be gone." The men stumbled to their wagon and fled into the darkness. When all was silent, Elias turned back toward the cabin. The girl ran to him, eyes wide with wonder. "You made them go," she cried. "You saved her." He smiled faintly. "Nay, child, the Lord lent me strength. But thy courage saved her first, for thou didst run through the dark when others would have hid." She clung to his arm, sobbing with relief. Within, her mother whispered a prayer of thanks. Elias fetched water and built the fire anew, then sat beside the cot till dawn, speaking softly to comfort them. When morning came, he saddled Brimstone once more. The woman, pale but smiling, reached for his hand. "Sir," she said, "we have naught to pay thee." "Keep thy coin," he replied. "Let thy strength return, and raise thy child in peace. That is payment enough." He turned to go, but the girl caught his sleeve. "Will you come again?" she asked. "Aye," he said, with a smile like the breaking sun. "There be fences to mend and seeds to plant. I reckon I'll pass this way soon." And so he rode off across the brightening plain, the wind singing through the grass. Yet word of that night spread far and wide, how the giant rancher of Hollow Creek stood, 'gainst evil men to shield a sick mother and her child. Some said he was more than mortal, that angels walked with him unseen. Others said he was but a man, yet the best kind there be. Years passed, and the girl grew tall. The mother lived long enough to see the fields bloom once more. Often they would tell the tale of that night, when a stranger came from the dust and turned fear to faith. And always they ended with the same words. Greater than, he came not for praise, nor for coin, but because his heart was strong and kind. And though Elias Boone passed into legend, it was said that on moonlit nights, when the wind moans across the prairie, one might still hear the echo of hooves and the deep voice of the giant rancher calling out, "Greater than, fear not, little one, no harm shall come whilst I stand."